the button. Did it work? Can you guys hear me? Here, let me. Can you guys hear me? Here. Okay, that's working. Okay, sorry for that. Never seem to get a good start to this. So, I'm a bit out of sorts because I'm back from traveling. Am I in the camera? Yes. Hi. It is Monday. It is 11:50 a.m. on November 12th, the year of our Lord 2018, and we are still making indie games, theoretically. I haven't done it. I've been on vacation. I went out to Bergen, and I spoke at a conference called Konsoll, and that was really fun and cool. And after that, I went north and I saw the Northern Lights because I was really wanting to do that. And then I ended up in Stockholm, which is a really cool city. I think I'm ready to move there. So that's been my last week and a half or so. Because of this, I haven't streamed in about a week and a half or so. So now I'm back. I didn't... Let's see. I basically didn't get much done, obviously, because I was traveling and like with people, so I couldn't work on the off hours and stuff, which is good. You should take breaks and stuff. But basically, I didn't get much done. I did before I left, and I did pick at a couple of the dance levels. And this morning, I hooked them. I put them in order and hooked them up so that you can actually play through them. So before there were 4 dance levels, they were all shit. So they're all cut, except for the last one. I made about 15 more and then cut them in half. And I ended up with like 9 pretty good ones, which is about where I am. And I set those so that they now play out, so I can theoretically test this, like get people to play this. And that's it. That's all that's changed. Other than that, there's been no change the last week and a half. In fact, this bug is still driving me nuts. See how right now everything's drawing through the world, and if I go back here, it should stop now. Yeah. Now those damn things aren't drawing through the world. I think I'm gonna fix that. I think that'll be a good way to ease into this, because I kind of like just hooked all this stuff up and then ate some lunch, and I'm super jet lagged, and I just need to get back into it. So I think I'll fix that bug, and then we'll come up with something bigger. We'll get something real done. I think that's what we'll do today. Good morning, Root Lancer. Is it morning? I've been awake forever. I guess it's still 11:50 a.m. Technically morning. Fact. Yo, somebody from Konsoll was like, why do you stream? And I didn't have a really good answer. And I still don't. I don't know why I do most of the things I do. Just seems to sort of make sense. Because I can. It's like, I don't know, man. I think I definitely started this because I thought it would be a good idea for marketing reasons. And then that was, like, obviously not true, right? Like, it's helpful in certain ways for marketing. Maybe. For certain kinds of games. Maybe. Especially games where you're making, like, Twitch plays kinds of games. I bet that would be a big deal. Or it's good for... I don't know. I don't think of it as a marketing thing. I just think it's cool. If I do this every now and then, people pop... Like, it's cool to have people you hang out with. I don't know. I don't feel like I have a good answer for that. But I definitely woke up today and thought, oh shit, it's Monday, I better stream. And then I was like, why? I'm not paid to do it. And I thought about it, and I was like, because I do. Yeah, that's true too. I did have the idea at some point to make more time-lapse videos out of this stuff. And I think time-lapse videos generally are more like set up a bunch of work to music. Seems kind of cool. But then that takes time. And the reality is, like, I don't know, I go back and forth on a lot of this stuff. Hold on, I left the door open. I think I have more my thoughts on this. I don't think anybody really knows how marketing works anymore. I don't think this is marketing. I do think there is like definitely people whose source of income comes from the fact that they stream, and that streaming and doing this sort of thing is like the goal is to do that rather than to make a game or a product. And I'm definitely not one of those people. And there's obviously loads of developers that don't stream, like the FTL guys never do any of this kind of like social media marketing stuff, and they do just fine. I guess maybe there's a blend in between, but it doesn't really feel like it, does it? Oh well, it's whatever. Let's fix a bug. Let's get something done today. It's a bit upsetting that some people make more money by playing a game than by making it. I understand the argument there, but I feel like that's something that has a lot of nuance, right? Because you have to understand the argument you just made is not a new one. So say you're an architect and you construct a building. You work really hard and you spend a lot of money and you get paid and you construct a building, and then some photographer comes and takes a photo of that building, like lights it well and takes a good photo of it, and that photographer becomes famous because of that photo, and that photographer does, you know, like everyone respects them as an artist, and some part of you wants to be like, hey, but I built that building. What they did was they took a photo of something I made. Shouldn't I be the one that's rich and famous and shit? And why is the photographer rich and famous? And I think instinctually you know that it's not, you don't get mad as the architect because you know the thing that people resonated with wasn't the building necessarily. That was part of it, but it was the perspective on the building. It was the way it was lit. It was the way it was presented. And so you always kind of have to have a respect for people who take your work and give their own unique perspective on it and make money off of it, right? And I know there's definitely a range there. There's definitely people who take photographs of art at an art gallery, for instance. And they seemingly just kind of take a photo of it, and then that feels like a ripoff. It's like, hey, all you did was take a photo of my art, and now you're selling that, and now I'm barely making a living. You can get mad about that, right? There's definitely arguments that would be bad. But I think if you're a game developer, you're more like the architect situation. You made a thing and you put it out in the world, and maybe it does well and maybe it doesn't. But when people are watching a Twitch streamer, they're not watching that streamer because of your game necessarily. They're watching that streamer because they like that streamer, because they like their perspective, because that is adding a perspective to a thing, right? And so I personally don't get upset by the notion that a streamer makes money by playing video games. And I know it's way more nuanced than that, obviously. There's a lot of arguments there. There's arguments that streaming will kill single-player narrative experiences because that's more like taking a photo of a painting and then selling it, because you've basically ruined the experience of seeing the thing by doing it instead. And I don't know what to say there. I mean, there's a reason why there's a moral gray there, right? It's hard to say if people are watching something because of their perspective. I would say most of the people watching like Call of Duty and stuff like that, watching the streamers play that, I have no beef with that whatsoever. Like, not at all. People are watching the streamers play that because they want to hang out with the streamer and hang out with the chat and be part of a social experience. Twitch is definitely like a kind of a social experience, right? So I don't think that's bad. I need to get out of Slack. We're about to cut the cord. They're moving offices. soon I'll be working from home full time. I don't know why I was scared about that. I need to take vitamin D this winter. Okay, where were we? Yeah, I guess that's the end of my thoughts on that. Like, it just doesn't upset me that people, for the most part, I don't think most streamers are trying to rip off game developers. I think they're adding their own unique perspective. Streaming single player, well, that can go on either side. I mean, if the experience of playing the game is the same thing as watching a movie, then maybe you should have made a movie. That's a hard thing to say too. That's kind of bullshit, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think this is just the beginning though for streaming. Like this is a much larger topic that I can't really go into too much because I know too much, but I know a lot about the different streaming platforms that are out there and that are coming out, and I think people view them with fear and skepticism, and I think should be true, but I think there's a lot of really interesting design opportunities and a lot of that stuff. I think the tech isn't there yet, but in general, I like the idea of, I think the idea of streaming both from, how do I put it? So there's streaming like what Twitch and I guess Mixer and YouTube do. And then there's streaming that's like a game is being played on a server somewhere else and you don't have to have the computer in your house and you're relying on you're putting input signals into your computer, which is going through the internet, and the actual game's being played on another computer. And I think that's fascinating for a lot of reasons. I think there's a lot of design implications there people haven't thought through yet. I think it's going to change how streaming works in a way. Because it's a lot easier to, if your game is being played on a server somewhere else, than just streaming it over Twitch or something like that. The technology for that in the back end can change quite a bit. And just in general, the idea of like, you play Fallout and you have all these kind of multi-screen situations going on. Things like that can become more of a reality. We can really experiment with that in ways I haven't even considered yet. I think we're honestly at a really fucking interesting time in game development. I think games in the next couple years are going to pivot in a really weird and interesting way. It's a good time to be a game developer. I wish I could be part of it. Probably can't be though. Probably just gonna fucking make Kine. It kind of goes with everything in life. People who develop cameras and movies equipment don't get mad that Denzel Washington's more famous and richer than them. That's different. That's like developing. The reason why I used an architect and a painter and a photographer is because I feel like that's more relevant, because a person that's developing a camera knows that people are going to use that camera to take a photo, to record a film or take a photo, right? Whereas a person who's building a building or a person who's painting a painting, they think they're making the end product. Just in the same way a game developer feels like they're making the end product. And so when a photographer takes a photo of that and becomes rich and famous off of that or whatever, they're like, but I'm the architect, I'm the artist, why not me? Which is, I think, a lot of what a lot of game developers feel. I think that's why I chose that analogy. Because I've thought about that analogy before. And I used to lean more into that. The extra credit guy design mentioned that. Yeah, there's a little bit of buzz around that kind of thing. I think there's just so much more here though. I don't really know what it is. I don't think it's this Twitch plays shit, but I do like the idea of like thinking in terms of games that can be played round robin, or I don't know. There's a couple things I'm not going to say because I have ideas, but it'll probably never happen. Like, I think streaming is cool. The idea of streaming and playing something off of a remote server. I think it's impossible right now just because the internet is not everywhere. It's not fast enough. A lot of the kind of people tend to prefer Twitch style games, like twitchy games, shooters and shit. I mean, I've said this before, I think the ideal games for... I like the future of turn-based puzzle games and slower game, not slower, but like turn-based games in general. because I think it lets, for streaming, because I think it lets you engage with your audience. You can stop at any point and talk. And also because I think it's the kind of game that would do well on a actual streaming service, like what you're seeing right now in the world. Who put out one recently? Google Stream and shit like that. But not for monetary gain. Maybe for movies, but not normal civilians. Yeah. I feel a curse. Yeah. We're all part of some kind of... We all rely on other people being good at what they do. I don't know how else to go about that, but yeah. The YouTube thing is super new, though. It's like Nintendo that refuses to let people stream their stuff, right? It's interesting. I will take any excuse not to work today. It's my first day back after a week off, and I just can't seem to get into the rhythm again. But we need to finish Kine, and then we can start thinking about the future of video games. Right? Right. So. I'm gonna start digging into... Oh god, I don't remember how I did this. Okay, what is drawing this material over the world? Let's just dig. This is being done by... Oh god, it's only been a week and a half and I don't remember shit. This is the first time in a long time I haven't, like, opened the game in... Like, I've opened the game Kine every day for the last year, and then I just took a week and a half off. Maybe it's done now. Maybe I'm over. You're looking forward to seeing... Thank you for your answer. I appreciate it. It needs to get done. I was talking with a platform holder about working with them, and it was looking extremely promising, and then now it's not. Now they kind of like went ghosted on me real hard. And so now I had this expectation of like, oh, I'm gonna get money, and I'm gonna like... And I started talking to my friends like, all right, what if we all work together and we get this done and we take it to here, and then it looks like that fell through. So now I think I'm a little bit bitter because I'm like, ugh, I have to do the thing I initially wanted to do anyway, which is just self-publish, which will be fine. It's just a mental shift. Also, I'm just got back from vacation, and I don't want to fucking work anymore. So what we're gonna do is, Root Lancer, we're gonna fix this fucking bug. And the way we're gonna do that... Okay. It's first by figuring out what's getting it to draw over the world in the first place. You are... It's a global material parameter, eh? Oh god, where is that changed? This is probably why people don't like globals. Is there a way to search for where I changed that? Alright, it's gonna be in the game mode, right? Do you think kind wouldn't be suitable for streaming? I actually suspect, in my opinion, turn-based games like kind should be the ideal thing for streaming until the internet is figured out. Because the reality is we have a huge tech problem when it comes down to so you have the latency of a controller that's plugged into your PC or whatever it is you're using, your console in the case of the new consoles and stuff. And then you have the issue of that has to go over the internet, and that signal has to be executed on a server. And then the result of that is sent back to you as a picture, right? Again, through the internet. So it's the same way, like how when you typed that to me on Twitch, it took time for you, there was the time it took for you to type that, and then there was the time it took for that to travel through the internet to my computer. And then there was the time it took for me to read that and decide what I wanted to do. And then now I'm replying to you, and you're going to hear it, like, I don't know, like some amount of time later. And if you have a game that's competitive or Twitch-based or Twitchy, like a shooter or anything where you need precision, I would argue that's not where you should start. I think if you want to, I think the right thing would be a game like Kind. Definitely. In fact, or any turn-based game, I think would be ideal. Anything where you don't need to rely on twitchy gameplay. So yeah, puzzle games in general would be a smart thing. You want to know more about the puppy? Oh, you saw that? Wait, hold on, let me read. There was a studio passion project that I was hoping we get funded, but the longer we wait, the less unlikely it seems. That was a double negative. You mean it seems more likely now that you've waited more? That it gets funded? Oh yeah, I guess I see what you mean. Yeah, that's absolutely true, because there's less risk involved once you've proved out the trouble. So the puppy, Tom Farrow, was, I went to, where was I? So I was in Bergen, and we went north to, I flew to Bodo, where I met a bunch of people, and we road tripped through the Lofoten Islands, which is beautiful, but it was like raining the whole time, because this is the worst time of year to visit Norway. And we ended up a little bit early in a city called Tromsø. And in the winter, like, they have ice bars and dog sledding and all this stuff, but it's not quite winter yet, and it's unseasonably warm right now. So we went to the place, like the husky place, where they usually have huskies that pull like sleds and shit. And they said, what we're going to do is we need people to walk the dogs. This is going to be rigorous. It's going to be a huge workout. Prepare yourself. And I was like, we're walking a dog. No, these are sleigh pulling dogs, right? Like, these are not, this isn't like a pleasant, jaunty walk. This is like, you put in these boots and you put on a harness around your waist, and they strap a dog to you. And for an hour, you mostly just like pull as hard as you can and dig in your heels while the dog moves you forward, largely against your will. And your goal is to mostly try to keep them, because they're used to pulling like hundreds of pounds of sled and shit, right? So your job is to like, you clomp through the woods and you like stay on the path. You keep them from fucking going anywhere. You just scream at them and hopefully they listen. And they pull you like as if you're a sled, and you just kind of, it's resistance training, which was super fun. So we did that, and then at the end you go to this like kennel where they have the baby huskies, and it's like, all right, you did that, we're making lunch for you, by the way, here's a bunch of puppies. And then you're tired and you're just like 30 tiny little husky puppies come up and like kiss you and shit. It's amazing. That was actually probably a highlight of the trip. Yeah, I flew all the way to Norway to hold a puppy. It was a cute puppy, though, in my defense. Breaking Kind is the ideal game. Well, Kind is the ideal game. It's perfect in every way. It will be when it's done. I need to finish this fucking game. Ray March. I have too many things I need to do. I will finish this game, so I can do other things, too. Like, fly around the world and walk huskies. Apparently. But no, I do think for streaming, I think Google stream when because I'm going to use them because they're the only like example that you can like pick up and hold and use and stuff. They put out the Assassin's Creed game. Right? Yeah, Assassin's Creed. I was playing it on, like, I think somebody in my office managed to get in on that stuff. It was good. I was shocked at how low, like, how much you don't feel the latency. But that being said, I still think we're just too far away from that, especially because even if you can get it to be good here in Boston, games are a global market. And if part of the appeal is, hey, this is great for emerging markets because now people don't need to own a really expensive PC, then the other half of that has to be, but in those emerging markets, the internet is slow as shit. And so I think having the ideal game would be a really beautiful turn-based game. So I think if this takes off, it'll actually take off with mostly Japanese games because they tend to still do really tactics and RPGs. And I think it'll take off with, if it takes off at all in America, I think it would be with like puzzle games and things like Kine. Yes, I actually think it would be perfect for it. Or Google Fiber takes over the world and latency stops being a thing. I suppose that's another option. Or, I mean, there's a lot of tech problems right now. That I'm not really qualified to even talk about because I don't really even understand them. But yeah, it's, I don't think we're technically there yet to have really twitchy kind of games, shooters, Call of Duty, for instance, running on a server somewhere else. I don't think so. Oh, you meant, sorry, streaming like Twitch-based. Do you think Kine would be suitable for? Yeah, why not? I think any game that you can pause and like talk to people. I wish. I mean, I have opinions about this because I'm making a puzzle game, so obviously I think they're the perfect game of all time. But yeah, I do think, in particular, one of the things that appeals to me about Twitch that I don't think is used enough is the idea that when you Twitch has the ability to take a single player game and make it a multiplayer experience, right? So the biggest problem with a puzzle game, for instance, is that most people hit a snag where it gets hard and then they bounce off and they leave. Whereas if there's somebody watching you, you have two things. You have a lot more social pressure to not bounce off and leave. So you're kind of forced to stick around and play through it a bit. Which is maybe not as fun, but is definitely true. Like, there's social pressure to complete a task when you're on Twitch, for instance. But there's also the ability for people in the stream to help or to offer advice, to kind of make solving a puzzle more collaborative. I wish there was more stuff like that. Kine is obviously not doing that, but I think that is, and specifically for puzzle games, if I was making a puzzle game designed for Twitch, it would be around that idea. The idea of like, I want people to be able to help if they happen to be watching on Twitch. I have pretty strong opinions about that, actually. And it's hard to say where all this ends, but I do think streaming, one of the things people haven't considered for streaming like this is that yes, it can take a single player game and it can ruin it, but it can also turn what is ostensibly a single player game into a multiplayer experience just because everybody's doing it together, or because you have other people hanging out with you as you do it, which is not a bad thing. What community are you involved in, Cowhome? You should check that out. Because I always thought that should be a thing. But then again, I don't know. I don't always like the things that are popular. I have other opinions about Twitch. Like, I really like, I like the idea of democratizing information. I like the idea of, I think it's cool that you have things like Handmade Hero, or like, I think Twitch has the ability to teach people things. And I wish there was more focus on that, on like the potential good that Twitch could do for as an educational tool in a way, because it's definitely like, this is not educational. We're hanging out. And I think that's what most streaming is, hanging out. But I think it is the idea that you could have a class is both good and bad. It would be good if Twitch got behind it and supported it. It's bad because it allows people who have absolutely no expertise to stand up and pretend they do. Which is like, information is now collective understanding rather than facts based on science and evidence, which is bad. There's a lot of sides to that, you know. Team J Dubsy. Alright, I'll follow you on Twitter. I'm curious. If I follow you on Twitter, will you guys stream Kind someday? Dylan, followed. Mortally offended by your icon, by your art in general, but we'll let that go. The cult of the rig, the guy uses it in his classroom. I should find more people that are doing that. You know, like a long time ago I was talking to Twitch about it. One of my favorite things with Twitch was the Anim State stuff, the animation exchange. I still strongly believe Twitch could kill GDC if they wanted to. They could just hold another GDC over GDC with the fact that everybody's there, and it's a more positive experience for speakers, and it puts all information online for free. Like, the magic of GDC doesn't necessarily happen in that lecture room. Yeah, it's a different thing. But yeah, I think if Twitch wanted to move in any direction like that, they easily could. They have an amazing platform for it. I didn't mean to do a roast. I'm gonna hang out with them, Remarch. I believe. I'm gonna hang out with a community of people that streams puzzle games. That shit should be encouraged. I don't know. Though at the end of the day, my ideas are probably not the most lucrative ones as far as what Twitch should do. Twitch clearly knows how to make money, and they've, I just don't like most of Twitch. I just don't get it. And I think Twitch knows their own audience a lot better than I do, and their audience probably doesn't want to fucking learn stuff, so. Hey, Kurobakla. What's up, dude? Oh, other streamers that pretend to know what they do but actually don't. I haven't encountered that too much. Most streamers are actively doing the thing they're doing. I do encounter people like, waxing philosophical on YouTube videos that have never done shit before. That's always like, I don't know. I used to troll Reddit a lot. And then I found out that there was a game dev subreddit, and I'm like, oh, why have I never been here? And then I went there, and I was like, oh god, what the fuck? And then I never went back. But you get like, I worked part-time on, I opened Unity once, here's all my thoughts on game development, and on a YouTube channel, and they'll get loads of views, and there's just no information there. It's just kind of like the death of expertise, you know? And there's a reason why every time you watch a GDC talk, within the first 3 slides, it's here's who I am, here's what I've done, here's why you should listen to me. Whereas people on YouTube don't generally do that step. They're just like, obviously listen to me, here we go. And then you dig into it and you're like, wow, you've not only never shipped anything, you've started to work on a thing once. That's your credentials? And it's just, I don't know. Sorry. Sorry, Raymarge. Yeah, I would love it if Twitch reached into other markets, if Twitch was into other things, but Twitch knows what's good for Twitch, right? I mean, you can look at something and see the potential of it and say this should move in this direction, but I do not have a handle on the audience of Twitch at all. like at all, really, right? They're mostly way younger than me. It's largely a young white male demographic that wants to watch other people play shooters. I don't fucking know that audience at all. Like, none of that applies to me. So, and it's possible that if you put a bunch of like educational content, even if it's something that I think is cool, like here's how you paint. I mean, you start out with Bob Ross. Why not, hire some painters to actually have classes, or why not team up with Harvard and have Harvard stream a couple of classes? Like, in my mind, that'd be cool, but in other people's minds, maybe that would make Twitch way less cool, right? And if Twitch needs to be cool, that's their whole thing. They're big with they're hip with the young kids and shit, right? Like, that's, I guess, what Twitch is about. So, yeah, my ideas might make Twitch less cool, which would be bad for Twitch. So, I would never dare tell Twitch what to do. They know their audience better than I do, right? But there's potential for something like that. I wish Mixer would do it, because Mixer is already not cool. So why fight it? Be something different from Twitch. That's where I would take Mixer, rather than, because Mixer's trying really hard to be like, but we have better technology, but we're so much faster. There's no latency and all this crap, which is cool, like to me, but is not gonna, like, the kids obviously don't give a shit, and Microsoft is just not a brand that the kids like. So the kids, like teenagers and shit, and I don't know who's on this thing. I'm just rambling at this point, but the point is, Mixer's already uncool. They should be the one to try to innovate in a weird new way. You didn't know Mixer was a thing? Mixer exists. Microsoft put a lot of money into it, and I think Microsoft often sees something like Twitch, and rather than try to make their own spin or make a different version of it, they try to do what Twitch did but better. Whereas if, like, when you're the second best, especially a distant second best, you're usually in a lot better place to innovate and just try something very different. Twitch has no motivation to set up educational content, or I don't know, there's a million different things you could do with this platform, right? Twitch has no motivation to do that. That doesn't affect their market audience. So why wouldn't Microsoft? Microsoft is already losing. No offense to Microsoft. We should don't tweet this stream, Microsoft guys. I don't need any of my friends to see this. I actually have friends that work on the Mixer team now. I think they know it's not as good as Twitch, though. I don't think anybody needs to, like, the numbers. There's data. Mixer is weird with the buttons. I don't think anybody's confused that Microsoft is not the coolest. They're definitely trying really hard to reach into, what do you call it? They're investing a lot into alternative controllers and things for people who are disabled. I'm terrified I'm going to use the wrong word and then just get murdered on the internet. But you know what I mean. Like, they're working really hard on accessibility, which I think is really nice. They do a lot of things that are really nice, and I think a thing that would be really nice would be educational shit. So yeah, they should. And Microsoft has the potential to destroy GDC. I think there's going to be everyone knows an online conference is coming that's going to destroy GDC. We just don't know who's going to do it yet, or what it'll look like. I've honestly never tried Mixer. I should. The whole point of doing this is to try out the different, stuff. All right, at some point by the end of the year, I'm going to stream once on Mixer and once on Facebook. I don't want to cross the streams. Facebook's for personal shit. YouTube. I'll do the YouTube thing. That's supposed to be big. Disabled. Good morning, Michael. What's up, man? Yeah, there's like they're streaming on Facebook. I know something Shim. There's a famous animator that streams on Facebook and games. Does a lot of, and like the kids are really into it. There's things we don't understand if you're American or European, but like in other countries, the entire internet is Facebook. That's hard to explain. There's countries like in Africa where they skipped having landlines and everything is mobile. There's like different parts of the world use different platforms. And yeah, Facebook is a streaming service that you can absolutely use, and even Americans use it. I think the kids are into it. And I think about it, the kids are more into YouTube and Facebook. No, sorry, Facebook is for the old people like me. Then goes Twitch, and then the youngest are on YouTube. Also, YouTube is the most popular. If you look at the numbers, YouTube crushes Twitch. That's my very limited understanding. But I think Twitch is like, the demographic is late to mid-20s. And I think YouTube is teenagers to early 20s-ish. None of us understand what's cool or hip, Rootlancer. We're all just way too old. I didn't know what was cool and hip when I was young. I'm just gonna blame age. Because fortunately, you reach an age where you're allowed to not care anymore. And I've hit that. Which is good. Because I don't. No, I knew it was cool once. We used to have these jeans that were really, really big, called Jinkos. That was when society peaked. It all went downhill after that. They stopped being cool, and then everything went to shit. What about Instagram? Kuru Bakla, I honestly don't understand Instagram. I think Instagram, so Facebook, we use it in the games industry because it's where the entire industry is. But it's also, the world's arguably a shit show right now. And because of that, every time you go on Twitter, you're just blasted in the face with the darkness of like, the world's a shit show, where everything's terrible, down with capitalism, and it's just like in your face all the time. But you can't have a picture of that, which is why people like Instagram. Like if you just can't handle the negativity right now, you can always just go to Instagram, and all you see are pictures of art and dogs and meals. Like it's just a happy place. And so most of the people, when I'm like, why are you on Instagram? They're like, because it fills me with joy and not fills me with sadness. And that seems to be the kind of takeaway right now with Twitter v Instagram. You're in your mid-20s, you still don't get it? That's fine. Nobody ever really gets it. We're all just pretending. Don't forget about the actual kids, though younger than teens. Oh yeah, that shit's terrifying. My God. The fake videos they make for the kids that have no meaning now on YouTube for like the literal children, like infants and shit. Yeah, when I talk about kids, I'm talking about teenagers. But yeah, the stuff underneath that, like the kids stuff on YouTube, is creepy as fuck. I never thought, like, I really want Disney to take over the world because, sorry, the kids market. I used to think this was a bad thing, to have one major company that owned all of media for children. But now I've seen what happens when we let computer-generated TV shows exist and warp the minds of the youth. And now I'm like, you know what? At least when Disney was doing it, there was like a message. So yeah, I want Disney to buy Marvel and lock down all content for children, just to make sure that it's not being developed by weird algorithms and robots and shit. Because those fake, like, generated TV shows that they're showing kids and shit, that can't be good for us, like, as a species. That's probably bad. You don't think what was ever called Rootlancer? Better not be fucking talking about Jinkos, Rootlancer. Those were super cool. And the classical music in the background. Yeah, I don't know. My friend was telling me, my friend had a kid. We were talking about kid stuff on the vacation a little bit. There's this song out of Korea that is caught on, that is supposed to be the catchiest song that's ever been written. And he told me the name of it, and he said, whatever you do, don't Google it. It'll never leave your head once you get it. But it's known. It's like Baby Shark. I'm not going to listen to it. But if you want that in your head, you can. Go ahead and Google Baby Shark. Because I literally, like, he said enough that I'm actually terrified of this thing. But yeah, apparently if you have a child and you just need that child to stop screaming, you can put on Baby Shark, and no matter what the child is, anywhere in the world, they will immediately go silent and just go. Like, it just triggers something in the brain. There's been a similar thing in the UK about the importance of having editorial standards. The BBC for children's programs. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, I would avoid that. Don't go listen to Baby Shark. I was actually warned about this. Shouldn't have told you about it. It's taken over. Hey, Yerk Scrub. How are we doing? We're doing good. We're procrastinating, Yerk Scrub. It's feeling really good. Really leaning into the procrastinating today. Hey, too much coffee. I don't know if I said hi to you yet. Dude, cow home, I can totally see where that's gonna go too. Because as soon as you say there's certain things we can't do for children, like we can't have procedurally generated cartoons for children because they're teaching kids nonsense words, and no, I don't know, this is probably bad for society, but you can't outlaw that. You can't ban it because that would be weird. You can't, like, instinct says that this is bad, that we should teach kids meaning. Even though kids want nonsense words. Instinct says that they should be taught meaning and stuff, right? But you can't legislate your instincts, and so we need scientists to prove that this is bad for society, but you can't do that without a certain number of years passing, so we're gonna have to, like, fuck up a generation or two before we outlaw this stuff. PBS Kids? I don't remember that. I remember Salute Your Shorts. That was my shit. I remember being slimed. You know what? Kids' TV was always stupid. Maybe I should go back on that. I felt like we had fables that taught lessons at one point, right? Didn't we? Even if those lessons were be afraid of the world, at least that was like a lesson. Like, remember Legends of the Hidden Temple? No, I'm the only one. Yeah, that's fine. Let's fuck up a generation or two. Yeah, but then, see, if we fuck up a generation or two, then they won't know what not fucked up looks like. I sort of want a daycare that purposefully learned things wrong. Left is right, numbers are 1, 4, 2. Yeah, whatever. The color wheel's switched. How difficult would it be to unlearn that later on? You want that for science. You want to put your own kids in that, Yerk Scrub? Because if not, you're an asshole. SpongeBob was nonsense, but at least they were words, right? As a European, I got the full Fable treatment as a kid, and everything was deep as fuck. Yeah. A lot of those kids' stories were really morbid. when you dug down into them. It'd be a good Black Mirror episode. I've seen 2 episodes of Black Mirror, and they disturbed me enough where I'm like, I need to be in a certain mood to watch this because it's too real. I'm genuine, like, I'm actually concerned about it. I don't always want to think deep thoughts and feel feelings about stuff. And every time I watch Black Mirror, I've watched 2 episodes, and both of them made me sit down and go, oh god. Which is good. That's powerful TV. Not much TV is that powerful. Yeah. I don't remember Guts, Michael. Black Mirror is good. We should have on the one hand I want content that makes people think, on the other hand I'm like, I don't want to think most of the time. Like, I do this and then I'm tired and then I want to laugh. I want comedy when I want TV, which is rare. The other thing is I only ever watch TV when I'm like, basically it's the end of the day, I'm gonna eat dinner, I'm gonna watch an hour-long show. So it'll be like something super entertaining like Game of Thrones, or it'll be something entertaining because it's funny and light. And it can't be something that makes me like kind of ill and sick to my stomach because I'm eating dinner. So the Black Mirror is unfortunately something I never watch, even though it's amazing. Like I said, I've only managed through 2 episodes of it. Cable's on its way out, Rootlancer. It's been on its way out for a long time. The only thing keeping it alive is the 24 hours news cycle and sports. That's all cable has now. And the 24-hour news cycle is basically left. So really it's just the sports that are keeping cable going. Which they know. Which is why it's impossible to get sports in any other way. And when I say sports, I mean mostly football. Like if you look at the demographics of America and why cable companies exist still, it's the NFL. It's the only thing propping up cable. That and old people. The Tinder Black Mirror stuff? I don't even want to know, man. I'll get there. I'll watch that episode at some point. On a more positive note, I always loved... So, dating becoming a thing that happens over the internet is something that happened in my lifetime. And I'm really on the fence about it, like why it's good or bad. We won't talk about that. What is interesting is those blogs that OkCupid put out. They have a real intrinsic understanding of humanity. Like, the OkCupid blog is always interesting for what people say they want versus what they want and how people respond to different things. The rating episode. Well, there's a lot of truth to society is changing rapidly because of the internet and because of these things, right? Who was it? Some famous person said at one point recently, there was a time when all you knew was like 200 people. And so everybody had the opportunity to be the best at something. Like Bob was the best at bike stuff. And like everybody had an identity because they could always be the best at something. But now you can always find somebody that's better than you at it. Even if nobody has the opportunity to be the best at anything anymore. Everybody just has more people in their Rolodex. Everybody, the things like Twitch and Twitter and shit, they make you feel really close to people. They make you feel like you can reach out and ask a stranger. Like you can actually find the expert on bikes. You don't need Bob anymore. And that makes Bob sad, right? So society, like if you look at how humanity and society has changed over time, it's changed the most rapidly in the last couple decades because of the internet, because we're global, and as a species there's way more of us than there ever have been, and it's easy to talk to people regardless of where they are in the world or what language they speak now. And that's only been the case for a couple generations, really, to the extent that it is now. In fact, every generation, like I feel a huge disconnect with people who, how do I put it? The difference between growing up with the internet versus not is just a huge divide, right? I can't get my mom to cut the cable. It took a long time to figure out why. It's because she's too used to being spoon-fed content and doesn't enjoy needing to make a choice. Streaming services would do good to make a non-binge random episode channel type. Huh. Yeah, she's in her 60s. Might be worthwhile to upgrade her to HBO though. Like if HBO would break away from the cable box, if everything was, if all the only way to consume HBO was HBO Go, I think that'd be cool. This is turning into an IRL stream, isn't it? I never thought I'd have enough people to do an IRL stream. You're Bob. You're the bike man, Remarch. Yeah, I don't know. Man, Tromso was cool. So like, I went to Tromso. I've had on my bucket list, I always want to see the Northern Lights. And they're going through a thing where the Northern Lights, to them, freaking out about this is weird, right? Like, it would be like for us, I was thinking about this the other day. Imagine like it rains and there's a rainbow. And you're just like, yeah, rainbows happen sometime when it rains. Who gives a shit? Like, it's not a big deal. And you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of pretty. But it's not a big deal, right? And then because of Instagram, Norway's become a really popular destination. Norway's only been a popular destination to visit for the past like decade. So you have people who are not used to, they don't have a tourist economy, right? Like the Lofoten Islands are gorgeous, but it's a fishing country. It's a countryside. It's not meant to be visited so much. And the Aurora Borealis is cool. Not as cool as the pictures. That's a different conversation. But like, because what the eye sees versus what a camera sees are different. But it's cool in a different way. In the way that the photos don't really capture the movement of it. They look really cool. I love the Aurora Borealis. I've always wanted to see it. But like, the people that are there just kind of, they basically, you sign up for a tour and the guy's got to explain. He's like, look, it's weather. So it'd be like if somebody said, hey, I want to go on a tour. You have to show me a rainbow. And you're like, well, hopefully there's a rainbow. I mean, it rains and then sometimes there's a rainbow, but there might be clouds. And if there's clouds in the way, then you won't be able to see the rainbow. But like, we can try. Anyway, pay me up front because I don't know if there's going to be rainbows tonight. It's just, they're put in this really weird position where they're like, why do tourists freak out over rainbows? Oh my God, there's money if we can convince tourists they can see a rainbow. But it's weather, and we don't really know for sure. Like, we've got all this data and science about what will most likely... Obviously, there's only going to be a rainbow after it rains, but where's the best place to see a rainbow? I don't know yet. That's kind of hard to say. There's legends about, like, a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. Sure, let's tell that to the tourists. That'll make them happy. You know, like... The whole tourism industry is so young there. They're still trying to figure this shit out. I don't know. Tromso was fun. It's fun in a weird way. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Michael. This is a just chatting stream? Oh, is that a different thing from an IRL stream? Then what's an IRL stream? Are you not allowed to chat in an IRL stream? Do you have to do real life things? Seems terrible. Is this an IRL stream? Usually, when I'm doing, if I was doing Blueprint? Is anything real? Oh, good. We're talking about Elon Musk. Do you believe it is inevitable to become a machine? Well, with regards to the smartphone, I accidentally lost my smartphone halfway through the trip. A really nice individual found it, and I like put up the screen and shit. He's gonna mail it back to me. But so I didn't have a smartphone, which was horrible because it just is. I couldn't even tell the time or take a photo or be on Twitter. The last thing was probably a good thing. IRL is dead. Twitch changed. I haven't trolled Twitch in a while. You guys told me to change this to science and technology, and I noticed like all the other game dev streamers are there, so hopefully that's fine. We're talking about science and technology. This is fine. This is fine. Do you believe it's inevitable to become a machine? Not in my lifetime, so it doesn't really apply. Probably not in the lifetime of my children either, if I ever have kids, theoretically. Like, I think it would be a ways off. I mean, we haven't even managed a brain transplant yet, right? Like, from one sack of human meat to another, which is something they have tried. I feel like that's got to happen first. Like, we have to at least be able to take a brain and put it from one body into another body before we can start thinking about putting the thoughts of the brain into chips. And we don't understand anything about the human brain. We're nowhere near that. I think people with a lot of technology is jumping ahead a lot faster than, how do I put it? Medical science, there's a lot of shit we just do not understand yet. Specifically with regards to the brain. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to put a timeline on it, but I can't imagine. I mean, let's see. I'll be dead long before we can put brains into chips, I suspect. It would be nice if in my lifetime they were capable of taking a brain from one body and putting it in another. That'll be huge for medical science. I think they've tried that once or twice in Italy and shit. It's been a while since I read up on that, but I don't think we've done it yet. Remarch. For the people watching this later on YouTube, one person said, I don't think the brain will ever be converted to PC. And then Remarch replied, no, it'll be on a Mac. Oh. This is dystopian futures. What were we even looking up? I'm gonna fix one bug today before the fucking stream ends. Draw over. So I'm going from gameplay to level select. We set this. Where's UI to gameplay? Gameplay to level select. UI to gameplay. Okay, well this is going to be easy. No matter what is going on, when you enter gameplay, disable the splines drawing over the world. No matter what. Period. No problem, Kurubakla. We'll go back to hanging out in literally a minute, because I think I just figured this out. Well, I'm curious why I didn't do that in the first place, though. Yeah, I shouldn't need this. No, okay, wait. When I go into... Yeah. So I shouldn't need to do that. Because we should be using an entirely different material that doesn't draw it over. And if we're not using a different material, why not? Because we should be changing the post proc. Where is that? The thing where I changed the post proc. I did that before I left. Where was that? Marketing debug. Update post proc when needed. When change post proc happens. Yes. So, what's calling you? Are we just gonna not do that then? What's our deal here? It's only ever used here. That doesn't make any sense. Yes, it does. Update. Sorry. In game mode, change post proc. Update post proc. Where are you called? You added gameplay HUD. Okay. So this should get called. When this gets called. Sorry, excuse me. Master game. The blueprint. We choose a post proc. I want to add a blue breakpoint and see why this isn't working. Because it's not. Okay. This is getting called. Okay, so for the record, this should work. The value default gameplay is going into here, which means it's grabbing the default gameplay post proc value. It should say that that is not the same as what it is. Should set that. When you're finished, you're here. Okay. Yeah. The end. And we should see. Interesting. So you should be in the correct post proc. Default gameplay. Default gameplay before tone mapper. So there's nothing here. Custom stencil. Yeah, that's fine. Wait, is it? Maybe you have a custom stencil by default, and that would explain why the first time I go in. This is the after tone mapper. You also have this problem. Wait, so if I'm right, this should always be 1. This should always be here. Because there's never a time in gameplay where we want the splines to draw over the world. If we're in gameplay, the splines should fall back. So I saw that breakpoint. That made no difference. After, okay. Show me also before. Are you the problem? Custom depth. No. So you're not the problem. This doesn't make any sense. Is it possible there's more than one post proc on? Like, show me your blend weight. You're off. You're on. Oh. Ha! That's the problem. Set everything to be 0 by default. Okay. What if I want your default to be 0? I want your default to be on. What if I want... Oh god, I got it. Okay. So... Got it. Okay. I need to choose one to be the default to be on for like fucking around in the editor, which I'm gonna have be gameplay. You have level select be off by default, left boat be off, gameplay be on by default. Just because this is pleasant. Yeah. Then, okay, so what was happening was I was taking a variable that was uninitialized and blending that to 0. And I was blending another variable on, And then the next time when it crossfades off the one that's on and blends on the next one, it's correct. So I just need to initialize this variable to be the thing that's currently on. So when you leave the level select screen, it turns off the previous post proc when it turns on the new one. So that's pretty easy. So all we gotta do is like say, just gotta set this variable once. Current post proc. Set to default gameplay. Bam. And now that problem will go away. Okay, check it out. Oh, but now there's nothing initializing it. Yeah. Okay, so let's say by default, maybe by default we should set it to level select, because that's the state that you're in when you start. And then I changed this, didn't I? This used to be set up. Okay. Interesting. All right, good. Oh, thank God. I would like to set it so that when you're here, now I want to set it so these don't draw through this area, right? Don't I? I think I do. Do that here. God, it's just so infuriating. I'm gonna want it here. I haven't figured this shit out yet anyway. I don't know what I want there. Okay, so let's go. All right. So we have it so that whenever you're playing in game, you no longer see the ribbons drawing through the world. So now we're going to set it so that you also never see those when you transition between certain menus. For instance, what the hell is going on here? This is UI to gameplay HUD. Did I change something here I shouldn't have changed? I'm scared. I'm going to close this. I'm going to save master game because that's where I fixed things. I'm not going to save anything else. Right? Yes. You feel like the reason they made the lines curved is so that the code can become actual spaghetti. Well, they made it curved because you need to be able to, like, make loops. I made code so bad I gave it one look and made a comment that says, "Future me, just trust that this works." And I know it won't. You're lying to future you, Michael. Jesus. It's like layers of terrible. Why is the game so dark now? I've broken something. Utterly broken something. Yes, give me a moment. I'm gonna revert the material change because I don't want that. I wish it was possible to revert a file from within the editor. It's basic file management stuff. If they really wanted to push the editor, I think integrating source control more tightly into it would be good. Because it's anytime you have to close the editor and reopen it to do something, I feel like that's not ideal. But I know what a pain in the ass that is. And then you're tying your app to the API of not everybody uses Perforce. I can see the downsides there. I don't know the right solution. All right, let's see where we are now. We have fixed it so that when you go into this mode, yes, okay, good. Getting correct post-proc. Now, let's say whenever you go into any of the side levels, or any of these other menus, like when you go into this, that one actually does kind of, no, that one doesn't work either. Okay. I want to hide splines when you're in other menus. I feel like I should be able to do that. Okay, so when you go from the gameplay to the level select menu. Let's try this. So we have this global, which if I recall, if we flip this spool, I'll stop drawing the splines over the world, and I just need to call that, say, whenever I change the state of the level select menu. So here, am I not doing that here? Oh man, maybe it was always, maybe it's just disabled right now. Boat is 0, 1s, 1s, 1. Okay. I see. There's a bug sometimes where if you add something to the material globals, it can blow away some of the places where you set it. So I'm just gonna check every place I changed a global material to make sure it's set. That one's set. 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 You're not. You add a gameplay HUD. You're set. Hide UI splines. 101, yep. You're all kinds of set. Okay, maybe it'll just work now. Oh yeah, that was working and I didn't even notice it. Look, if I go here, those splines fall back. Go here, they come forward. Fall back. Come forward. Why is the screen getting so dark though? Let's look into that. So ribbon spline. No, look at the post proc. And when I change this global, it disables these things. That should be fine. It also after tone mapper. This is everywhere after the tone mapper. Another thing that happens is when I change that global, alright, so this is what's doing it. Okay, so I never really finished this idea. So I have the game post proc before the tone mapper, the level select post proc before the tone mapper. I have after the tone mapper one that sees for all of them. I actually need to duplicate this. This will be level select. Level select post proc after tone mapper. And I'm gonna put you, I get my post proc volumes. You will be the material I blend to. And for you, I think I want this to always be 0, right? I think I want to delete this. Okay, yeah, that looks right. And this, of course, means I can also... Okay. So I'm going to delete these instructions from this, because this is no longer used everywhere. If you're only used in the level select, you don't need a hit effect. And I don't think you need that. Let's make sure. Okay. So you can just be simplified in a load of ways. This also means I can go into the game post-proc. And for the game, there's never going to be a time when this isn't 1. So I guess set that to 1. Alright, that bug is fixed. God damn, I want some soda. Well, now what? Oh, God. So many things. I don't want to work. Can we just hang out? This is why I stream. We figured it out. Because I hate working. I'm tired of it. We turn the light. That's kind of nice. I will say this. I thought Boston didn't get any sunlight, and it usually doesn't, but man, Norway was somehow worse. There was like no sunlight the entire time I was there. Okay, there's a massive overhaul I want to start at some point. I should start that now. All right. So this screen, right? It's crap, right? I kind of know. Like, I like the composition of it, sort of, but... don't like this. It should look like this. Specifically, it should be like... is nice out today. I got no complaints. It's beautiful. Should probably... When does the sun set? Maybe I should get some light in. I get so sad every winter. And also I get vitamin D deficient every winter. I could actually go outside instead of taking pills. That's probably the right solution. And I need to get groceries. But it's going to be such a shit show because I think the world has today off here in America. So, fuck that. Should I go to the grocery store, wait in line? Oh, I got that kind of time. Let's see. What I was gonna look up was... Let's look at like... It's kind of hideous. There's things about this I like. I need the idea of like maybe a scrolling list. Where it's clear which one you've selected. It won't look like this because this is terrible. So for my talk in Norway, I had this gag, which was like, I was going to play random Twitter sound effects and notification sound effects. And then halfway through, I was going to be like, joke's on you, YouTube, that was part of the PowerPoint. But the problem was, the actual laptop I was using, the one that they put our PowerPoints on, actually did have real notification sound effects. So that was throwing me off because like the Windows tried to update halfway through my fucking talk. And like, so I had the gag going, so there's a sound effects from those, and there were sound effects I didn't expect. And this was totally throwing off the people. I told the people in charge, I was like, hey, there's a couple of like Twitter sound effects and things in my slides, don't freak out about it. But everybody was just deeply confused in the middle of the Norway talk. I think it played off like, and it didn't seem like anything was wrong, but it was like, I'm now a little bit, I'm starting to get a little pissed off at Windows. Just a little. Un poquito. Alright, so we're gonna rework this UI. I like the idea. Basically, this is just going to visually represent what you select over here. This is going to be where you select the level. We're going to have the musician update stuff down here for like their feelings. We're not going to have completed 0, 4, whatever. Instead, we're going to have the idea of like a progress bar. I like the idea of a progress bar. Like, did you ignore me? Gold color. Yeah, I think I played it off like it was intentional. Real answer, but I don't know, we'll find out. You can see the, if you are eager to see it, you can see the live stream of it. Because they streamed the talk on YouTube and stuff, but it was, like if you're American, it was just super early in the morning, because it was Norway time. It was 1 o'clock Norway time, which is 6 hours later than America, so I think it was probably really late. But eventually they'll put like a polished version on YouTube, and I'll tweet that out. If you just want to see the backup, it's on YouTube. Like the current, the not edited live stream. They just have the whole day up there. Cool. I think it went well. I definitely cut large parts of it. A couple of things I cut before I started, like I cut it down to what I thought was only an hour, and then the day of I cut it down by another 5 minutes, and I accidentally left some things out while I was talking. And also there's a whole bit in the middle that I was kind of, that's about not being afraid of outsourcing and understanding that you are in an expensive country. And I felt bad because I was just hanging out with Oscar beforehand, and we were talking about how in real life, like, given the opportunity, I would rather just do absolutely everything myself, right? Because it's more fun that way. Because that's why we do this. We do this so we can have fun. And if I can't do everything myself, then I try to like come up with some procedural art generation thing. I try to come up with a way to procedurally do work. And I resist. I love working with other people, I really do. But I don't know, like it's a lot of work to hire somebody, and it's a lot of work to manage people if you're managing. It's a lot of fun to collaborate, but it can be kind of shitty. So I had this whole conversation, and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, you know, keep in mind there's people that are cheaper in other countries, and I was going to go into the idea of, you can work a job that you hate and then think of that as working in your game, because that money can be spent to hire people in other countries where things are much cheaper. And this was after I just told Oliver I would never do that, and I just paid like $20 for a tiny ass slice of pizza for lunch, because Norway is by far the most expensive country I've ever been to. And also the entire room was just kind of not liking that. You don't want to point out to the most expensive country in the world that it's really fucking expensive in their country. So I just kind of like cut 3 slides in the middle of the talk. I was just like, you know what, we're just not even gonna cover this. I mean, there's an economic reality here of like, it is very expensive to live in the countries in Norway or America, and it is a huge advantage if you don't live there, and it is worth thinking about long term. The fact that, I don't know, man. It's just something you have to be aware of. You have to know that if your goal is to only ever work on your own stuff, that's cool. But be aware that that's like something you're giving up, that you're not working in the most efficient way. And that's fine, but you should, you know, own it. It wasn't $20 for pizza. I'm trying to remember what it was. And it wasn't even pizza. It was Mexican. They're really, really into, it was a quesadilla. But they're like really into Mexican food in Norway. There was Mexican food everywhere. I was really surprised by that. I thought that was like something Americans love. They just like, there was Mexican food restaurants everywhere, and there was weird ideas of Mexican food. Like we went to get pizza one night and we got a Mexican pizza, which was, their idea of Mexican pizza was like a kind of spicy aioli instead of marinara sauce. Other than that, that was it. Like, and then cheese, and then like I don't remember what the meat was. I don't think it was beef. It was falafel or something. Or like somewhere else we got, when we were in, I was with everybody else up in Tromsø, and we got Mexican pancakes at one point. Or a Mexican pancake, which was like a pancake with, I don't even think of it as like, or I'm sorry, was it a taco pancake? It was called a taco pancake. Which did kind of have something resembling salsa, sort of. And then like, again, that same kind of aioli, I guess. And then ground beef. Yeah, their idea of Mexican food's real weird. Real weird, but they're real into it though. Also really into coleslaw. Every sandwich, I liked that part. Every time you order a sandwich, it is like some kind of slaw on it. I was a fan of that. I like coleslaw. But like, if you get a burger, it's gonna have coleslaw on it. Assume that. Like, that's just reality. Also, don't get a burger. They don't have good beef there. It's just, the bar is lower. Everything is way more expensive. Food is so much more expensive. These are Norway facts. Norway facts. Food's more expensive. I will say this though. In my life, I've never wanted to. There's a lot of places where I'm like, oh, this was fun to visit, but I would never live here. I would live in Stockholm. I like Stockholm a lot. There's something about that city. That city's cool. It's like all the good bits. It's like a cooler Boston. People there aren't like lackadaisical and soft in the head like they are in California, but they're still kind of friendly, and everything's really nice and clean. Like, it's like a clean New York. Like, there's not shit on the streets and shit. Like, I have nothing bad to say about Stockholm. I was only there for 2 days, but it was like, and it rained, and it was probably the worst 2 days to visit Stockholm, and I still thought that was a cool city. Like a city that I would live in. kind of want to learn and grow more as a tech artist. The US does butcher Mexican, Chinese, and Italian. We went to a Tex-Mex restaurant, which was like Norway's take on American Mexican food. It was pretty damn good. Other times we went to, like, they have tacos everywhere. Those aren't tacos. I don't know what that is. Norway's idea of Mexican food is just weird. Just real weird. Good. But not spicy or... It's not Mexican, it's not American Mexican, it's something totally new. And yeah, there's a difference between Chinese food and American Chinese food. And to be fair, I like both. I like American Italian. I'm in Boston though, so we have also just Italian food that's quite authentic. Because there's a huge Italian population in Boston. Like the North End is pretty well known. I wouldn't say Americans butcher Italian food. You can get authentic Italian here. You can also get delicious American style Italian though. And I would say we innovated on the pizza quite effectively as a country. Like Italian pizza's like a here. Chicago was like, hold my beer, let me show you what pizza could be. I think we did this right. Where was I? Right, I'm debating what I want this to look like. So I want to get rid of that idea. I still like... I think by making things in Photoshop. So this is going to be a... Didn't I have a mock-up of this at one point? Should I be fucking with that? Alright, don't worry about it. We're here. I ate before the stream. I do not require pizza. I need to stop eating like crap, would be about where I am in my life right now. And maybe, probably I need to go to the gym. Or pick up a new hobby. Get something in my life that gets me activity. That's actually kind of important. I should set aside some time to figure out what I'm going to do for that. I lifted every week for 2 years. Then I just stopped. And it has been 3 months. Kind of bored of yoga. Oops. I did Ultimate Frisbee organized by the game devs in California. That's good. I know that can definitely be like a good workout. I don't know, I generally set my schedule each day. I don't like being tied down to having to do things at a certain set time, which I know is like immature and bad. It's a lot better. I know the reasoning behind why you shouldn't do that, but it's what I do. There's definitely an argument to like getting into a sport with a bunch of other people though. Like doing soccer or Ultimate Frisbee or something. Yeah, I feel you. We had Soda Rational, we had the baseball league They didn't meet during lunch, but they would meet about every... What the shit? Oh, sorry. So we just got like 7 emails at once. We had a baseball league that's pretty common. We played against like Harmonix and them. That was fun because it was competitive against other studios. What else do we do? We also, there's like a small dev lifting community. People who are just game developers and software engineers that lift weights. Like on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I did that very briefly when I was at Irrational. That's what got me into weightlifting. But I liked that because it was, at the time, it fit my schedule. I used to have a very rigid schedule, really. Like, get up and go to work. There is definitely an argument to that. That is probably a smarter way to live. That being said, I'm way too lazy to do that. I really like the freedom of waking up every day and figuring out what I'm going to do. There's a lot of things that say psychologically this is a terrible way to work, and I do think it's probably inefficient. I should probably be somebody who has a schedule and goes into an office and things. It's healthier. They say in the long term it makes you happier. But really like working from home whenever the fuck I feel like it. It's really just a lot more fun. I know logically the other way may be better, but nah, this is good. I don't know. Because these days, every time I have to go into work, I feel like it's such a drag. But that could have been because I really wanted to work on Kine. So it's hard to say. And I felt more productive back when I went to the office, but if you really look at it, I probably spent a lot more time fucking around. Talking like I do here. You get stressed to balance your needs, like eating and the... Yes, gym, social work, meals. I feel ya. That's not necessarily easier when you work from home, though. I feel like you still have to find a way to have discipline. You still have to... I find I still need a schedule, it's just I set the schedule in the morning rather than having a known schedule every single day. You know what I mean? But that stress for balance is always there. I feel bad. I'm supposed to... I've been delaying. There's this lady that's really nice, Jen. She runs IGDA. And she wants to put together a webinar of like... tips for life balance, and she wants me to give a talk for it. And there's 2 things. First off, I've given too many talks and I need to stop because like I'm never gonna make this game if I don't fucking sit down and make it, and I need to just stop speaking so much. And I've already agreed to speak again, like for a very short thing in Raleigh. So I don't want to do it. But the other thing is just this is not something I'm qualified to tell people. Like, I don't feel like I have that figured out at all, really. I mean, when we shipped Bioshock Infinite, I was obese. Partly it was the crunch food and that stuff, but like I've never been good at balance. I've like since I started kind of gained 5 pounds. Like I'm not healthy. I'm not a healthy person. I'm not good at social life shit. Like everyone I know, I'm real social because all my friends are game developers, and we get each other. Anytime I have to go to like a goddamn barbecue, with like normal people, which happens a lot, unfortunately, it's hard. It's basically hell. I mean, it's not hell. It's fine. It's good. It's important. I hate small talk. That's not true. No, yeah, I hate small talk. I'm not good at this. I have the experience? No, I don't. What? Is that an earthquake? Why do you have to go to so many normal barbecues? No, I don't have to go to a lot of them. You know, like... Like once every month or two, I have to go to some event. Not really. It's not barbecues. Okay, so there's usually barbecues, and then there's like... I've gone to 3 weddings this year. And I get pissed off when they get sprung on me. Events get sprung on me like last minute. This is like embarrassing to admit, but no, it really does piss me off. Like if I have to, if I don't have like a week's notice and there's a big event, like my brother had a surprise wedding in Dallas, and I had to go within like a week, and then I was like, I just lose a weekend talking to like my now in-laws, and don't get me wrong, they're lovely people, and I love it. It's good. I don't know. It's just irritating. I mean, I love weddings usually. Don't get me wrong. It's fun. Drinking and dancing and stuff. That's a whole story. There's a lot there. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it's usually like barbecues. They come up at the last minute, weddings. What else? I'll talk my way out of a party. The best thing in the world is when you've agreed to go to a party and you have a legitimate excuse why you can't go to the party, and then you don't go. And even though it's legitimate, it's like, oh, I had to go to the dentist this morning. Then you get to stay home and you feel no shame playing like video games and picking out and crap at home, because you're like, well, I would have been at a party, so it's not like I'm supposed to get work done now. Fuck it. And those are the good days. And it's a shame that that's, in my opinion, the best imaginable day, but it's true.